Good morning, kids. This is Grandma Freeman in Southeast Texas, and this morning I would like to talk to you kids about home economics, particularly meal planning and making the most of what you have in house. And also, I have used quite a bit of my in-house food already this month. I have not been grocery shopping since the beginning of January, and we're into the fourth week. So you can see I'm running out of fridge and freezer food. So I have a lot of condiments left. And because we are in a food crunch crisis, I'll call it a crunch. I don't want to get too hysterical about it. I am deciding not to buy very many condiments, to use up what I have and to be very frugal with condiments because they're not really the food that we eat on a daily basis. They're just kind of complementary to make things taste good. So we'll talk about that again later. And I'm started my grocery list. I don't have too much on it because there's not too much I need right now. I did make a run to the Family Dollar last week to pick up paper products. And I did pretty well there. So I probably won't need any of those when I go shopping at Kroger's this Thursday, I think. This week, maybe. We'll see how that goes. I found this recipe. This is vegetable and meatball soup. This looks very interesting. The only thing is this is for a very large batch of soup. So I think I'm going to cut it in half, pare down on it, and because it's only myself and sometimes my son that I'm feeding. Soup does stretch throughout the week, so this is a very economical thing to do. Soups are good for you, and you can mix meat. You can do a soup with just about anything, leftovers included. So this soup, I don't know if you can read it. These are the ingredients. And then over here is basically for the meatballs, starting with the 2 pounds of ground beef. I'm cutting that down to 1 pound of very lean ground beef. And I have most everything I need to do this particular recipe. This recipe is in Southern Living, and these cookbooks I have are from the 60s. So that dates me, I know, but that's the way life is. And to really be economical, and also this is a good for the stock up. I'm planning to mix up some non-fat dry milk, and to make it a little richer, I have some fat-free evaporated milk that I'm going to use, and we'll get back to that in just a moment. These are the ingredients that I am planning to use to make my meatballs and my vegetable soup. I have some herbs and spices over here, and I have some Dollar Tree breadcrumbs, and they're very good. I don't plan to use very much of that because I don't want to ruin the taste of this 100% grass-fed ground beef that I got from Kroger's on the special markdown shelf. Now this is very lean. It was reduced to $4.79. So that's part of home economics. You need to get the best deals you can get. And in this case, I froze it right immediately because I wasn't ready to use it. And I think it would be very good in the meatballs. It's quite a bit for me to use up. But if I make meatballs, I can freeze some of them. So there's another way that you can save your food for another day. And for a large family, that might go in one day. But anyhow, this is still very economical. I have some leftover corn that I'm going to put in it, And I have this almost whole onion, and then I'm going to cut it from 2 eggs down to 1. And I'm also going to use this rice left over from Sunday's dinner. So it's going to be good. I have some cannelloni beans, which are basically white kidney beans. And I have these 2 cans of stewed red gold onions. And I may just use 1 can. I'll have to see, and then add water. And I'm going to use this seasoning salt, and if that's not going to, that's going to go in the meatballs. And if that doesn't season it, and if there's not enough salt in the stewed tomatoes and the cannelloni beans and the breadcrumbs, I'm going to season to taste with this kosher salt back here. And I have already cooked what I had left of my kale in a little bit of water. Now, I'm not going to drain off that water. I'm going to use that in my soup. There's nothing wrong with it. I tore the leaves off of the stems of the kale, and I rinsed it very well in a colander with cold water. So I'm going to use that kale broth in my soup for extra vitamins. It's very important to get all the vitamins and minerals you can in your food supply. And this is basically almost from scratch. And I also, I don't know if I mentioned over here, I'm using this soup starter. And it has in it carrots, potatoes, super sweet corn, green beans, green peas, baby lima beans, okra, celery, and onions. Now, if I don't have enough bulk to my soup, I'm going to add extra celery, carrots, and maybe some of this onion soup. And also, I have this little bit of garlic cloves in this jar, and I need to use this up and get another clove of garlic next time I go grocery shopping. So we'll see how that turns out later. Right now, I'm concerned. I did taste this, and it's very tender. I cooked it for about 25 minutes, and then I let it set, and I taste tested it, and it's very tender. So that's ready for the soup. Now, the onions and the garlic I will probably saute. I want to get back to the meatballs need 2 tablespoons of milk, and I'm out of milk in the refrigerator, so I'm going to mix up this non-fat dry milk. So the first thing I need, well, I already went ahead and emptied this evaporated milk into my glass container. It does call for a glass container. That way you can see your milk, how much you have. This, the dry milk would make 1 quart, but I have a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk and in here already. And so this is going to add it and bring it up to, if you can see those numbers there, to 12 ounces would be right here. And this would be two cups. And you can see it's already up to almost 4 cups here. That says 4 cups, which would bring it up to a quart. So that is, it calls for 3 and, I don't know, maybe, 3 3/4 cup of cold water. The water I'm using is filtered through my refrigerator, so it's very cold and fresh water. Very filtered, good water. Okay, the first thing I need to do is to pour the water with my evaporated milk. Okay, and then I need to add, the recipe calls for 1 1/3 cup of evaporated milk to make 1 quart. Okay, so that ratio is accurate. Now, I need to stir it up, and it'll all be mixed in. It'll be a little bit richer with the evaporated milk, and it will give it a better color. It won't be real white. It'll be kind of, yeah, this is a good way to stretch your budget. Plus, I had to use up this evaporated milk because I was 2 months past the best by date, which doesn't mean that it's rotten. It's not rotten. It's not that old. But it's the only can that I had left over of the evaporated milk that I have in my pantry that was out of date by this best by date. So there's nothing wrong with it, and it's going to taste very good with the evaporated milk. I'll tell you a little story. When I was a child, we didn't have a refrigerator. We had what was called an ice box. What it was like a window box on the outside of our house that was, you could open it from the kitchen or the dining area, and then it was kept cold from the temperature outside. So my mother would buy me evaporated milk to drink. Probably probably wasn't fat-free. She bought the regular kind, and I can remember drinking it, and it was good. It was the only milk I got, and that was a long time ago, in the old house we lived in, and we just never got a refrigerator as long as we had lived there. So times might get as tough as they were back then when we were young. So, or when I was young. Some of you know what I'm talking about. You have a wonderful day. It's raining here in Southeast Texas. It's been raining all day. So, what better thing to do than to stay in your kitchen and cook? Have a wonderful day. Please like and subscribe. Bye for now.